January 18th, 2016, Mesa, Arizona. It's late in the evening when a call comes into police dispatch. From a La Quinta Inn hotel, a guest reports something alarming. They claim they saw a man in an upper floor window, holding what looked like a rifle. From the parking lot, it appeared as if the weapon had been pointed outside. Given the circumstances, Mesa police treat the call as a high-risk, active shooter situation. Officers are dispatched immediately. What they don't know is that within minutes, this call will end with a man deceased, captured in full-on police body camera, in footage that many would later describe as one of the most disturbing police videos ever released. The man police are looking for is Daniel Shaver. Daniel is 26 years old. He's a pest control worker from Texas, visiting Arizona for a short work trip. Earlier that night, he'd been showing off a BB gun from his hotel window, something he would later admit was a stupid mistake. But the object seen from below looked real enough to prompt a police response. By the time officers arrive, Daniel is back inside his room. He is unarmed, and he has no idea what's about to happen. Mesa police locate Daniel's room and order him to come out into the hallway. Body camera footage shows what happens next. Daniel opens the door slowly. He is immediately ordered to get on the ground, cross his legs, and place his hands behind his head. He complies. Officers then escalate their commands. Daniel is instructed to crawl toward them on his hands and knees. But the instructions don't stop there. They are long, rapid, and constantly changing. At one point, officers shout,
"You do that again, we're you. Do you understand? Do not shoot me. And listen to my instructions."
Daniel begins to panic. His voice is shaking. He's crying. Over and over, he says the same thing. "I'm sorry. I don't understand." As Daniel crawls forward, something small but critical happens. His gym shorts begin to slide down. He's terrified, confused, barely able to process the commands being screamed at him. At one moment, Daniel reaches back, not toward a weapon, but toward his waistband. He appears to be trying to pull his shorts up. Less than a second later, 5 gunshots echo through the hallway.
Crawl towards me! Crawl towards me!
Daniel collapses forward. He has been shot at close range by Officer Philip Brailsford. Daniel Shaver dies on the hotel floor. He was unarmed, and he was complying. When the body camera video is later released to the public, outrage follows immediately. Officer Brailsford is charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter. In 2017, the case goes to trial. The defense argues that Brailsford feared Daniel was reaching for a weapon. Despite the video, despite Daniel's position on the floor, despite the lack of any gun, the jury returns a verdict, not guilty on all counts, and Brailsford is acquitted. On April 10, 2022, Jharkhand, India, rising more than 1,300 feet above the ground, the Trikut Ropeway was one of the most extreme tourist attractions in the country. Built to carry visitors up and down Trikut Mountain near Deoghar, the ropeway was the tallest cable system in India. From its cabins, riders could see miles of landscape stretching out below them. For many, it was the highlight of their trip. For others, it was terrifying. Videos of the ride had been uploaded to YouTube for years, showing just how high and exposed the cabins really were. One of those videos was recorded on April 10th, 2022, by a woman and her family as they descended the mountain. The camera captured a first-person view from inside the cable car. The height was unmistakable. Each time the cabin passed a support tower, the loud mechanical clatter echoed through the air. Despite this, the group remained calm. They talked quietly. Some even seemed to enjoy the view. It was a feeling that would not last. Without any warning, the cabin was struck by an immense force. The impact threw the passengers to the floor. The camera dropped. The screen went dark. In that moment, a critical axle in the ropeway system failed. The pulley mechanism collapsed, causing two cabins to collide mid-air. Every other car on the line came to a violent stop. When the footage briefly returned, it showed something unsettling. The cable was still holding. The cabin was still intact. The people inside had survived the crash, but the nightmare was only beginning. News of the incident spread quickly. Emergency crews and media flooded the area. Early reports confirmed that one man in a separate cabin had already been killed in the collision. Many others were injured. Worse still, the ropeway was completely inoperable. More than 70 people were now trapped inside cable cars, some suspended over 1,000 feet above the ground, with no way to move up or down. Rescue teams faced an impossible situation. The height alone made traditional methods unusable. After hours of planning, officials called in the Indian Air Force. Their plan was dangerous, but necessary. Helicopters would hover above the stranded cabins. Ropes and harnesses would be lowered. One person at a time would be secured and lifted into the aircraft using an electric winch. It took hours before the first attempt was made. Finally, a middle-aged man was chosen. He stepped into the harness and was slowly lifted away from the cabin. The footage of what happened next is difficult to watch. The man was already suspended over 1,000 feet in the air. Now, the helicopter lifted him even higher. The wind that day was strong, made worse by the powerful downdraft from the helicopter blades. As he rose, the man began to swing violently from side to side. He clung to the rope as the aircraft hovered above him. The ascent was slow, exhausting, terrifying. At last he reached the helicopter. Safety was just inches away. Instinctively, the man raised his arms, trying to grab onto the aircraft. In doing so, the harness shifted. It slid up over his shoulders and arms, leaving it in his hands instead of supporting his body. For a full minute, he dangled in the air, holding on to the harness with nothing else keeping him from falling. Inside the helicopter, the crew searched desperately for something to pull him in. The man lost his grip. He briefly caught the edge of the aircraft, but his strength was gone. Seconds later, he fell. He plummeted nearly 2,000 feet to the ground below. He died instantly. The people still trapped in the cabins watched it happen. They had just seen a man reach the helicopter, only to fall to his death moments later. Soon, they would face the same choice. Rescue crews adjusted their procedures. Several more rescues were completed successfully, but the process was agonizingly slow. 24 hours passed. Then it was 60-year-old Shobha Devi's turn. As she was lifted into the air, the wind once again caused her to swing uncontrollably. Mid-ascent, the winch suddenly stopped working. She was left hanging in open air. Rescuers scrambled to fix the issue. Then the rope snapped. Shobha Devi fell to her death. It took 48 hours to rescue the last of the survivors. In the days that followed, the footage spread online and sparked intense debate. Some praised the rescue crews for attempting an operation under extreme conditions. Others pointed out a disturbing fact. More people died during the rescue than in the original accident. There were no criminal consequences for the rescue team. Responsibility instead fell on the operating company, Damodar Ropeways Infrastructure Limited. The company was accused of failing to maintain the ropeway and of abandoning the site after the initial crash. They were fined over $1 million and banned from operating ropeways for 5 years. Families of the victims received approximately $33,000 in compensation. For those who survived, the memory remains, not just of the collision, but of watching hope rise into the air and then fall back to the ground.
Carolina soldier has been killed in Iraq.
No one really knew the real Vester Flanagan. To viewers at home, he was known as Bryce Williams, a confident and professional reporter working at the WDBJ news station in Virginia. On camera, he appeared composed and experienced, even filling in as a news anchor at times. But off camera, something was wrong. Flanagan had been hired in 2012, and it did not take long for problems to surface. Co-workers noticed his short temper almost immediately. Arguments became frequent. His behavior grew increasingly volatile, and complaints against him began to stack up. Many at the station felt uneasy around him. They described feeling threatened and unsure of what might set him off next. As tensions rose and his performance declined, management made a decision. In February of 2013, less than a year after being hired, Vester Flanagan was fired. The termination did not go smoothly. When asked to leave the building, Flanagan refused. He argued with management and refused to get out of his chair. Police were called to the station. Even when officers arrived, he continued to resist, forcing them to physically remove him from his seat and escort him out of the building. As this was happening, cameraman Adam Ward, who had previous issues with Flanagan, recorded the incident. This only made things worse. Flanagan began insulting Adam, telling him to lose weight before flipping him off. Before leaving, he picked up a wooden cross and threw it at the news director, saying it would be needed later. That moment marked a turning point. According to reports, after his firing, Flanagan killed his 2 pet cats. What followed was not a moment of calm, but a deepening obsession with revenge. Flanagan believed he had been treated unfairly. He filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, accusing co-workers of making racist and homophobic remarks toward him. The claims were investigated, but they could not be substantiated. The case was dismissed. To Flanagan, this was not justice. It was proof that the system was against him. From that point on, he became consumed by the idea that he had been wronged and that those responsible needed to pay. August 26, 2015. It was a normal morning broadcast. Reporter Allison Parker was on location with Adam Ward, filming a live interview with Vicki Gardner about an upcoming community event. Nothing seemed unusual, but just outside the camera frame, someone was approaching. It was Vester Flanagan. He carried a phone to record what was about to happen. He was also armed. Without warning, gunshots rang out. The live broadcast was cut short as Flanagan opened fire on Allison Parker, Adam Ward, and Vicki Gardner.
Okay, not sure what happened there. We will, of course, let you know as soon as we find out what those sounds were from.
As viewers watched in confusion and horror, Flanagan fled the scene. A manhunt began almost immediately. Flanagan was driving a rented vehicle, attempting to stay ahead of police. At approximately 11:20 in the morning, officers located his car and attempted to pull him over. He refused to stop. A short police chase followed, ending when Flanagan drove off the road and crashed. When officers approached the vehicle, they found him suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was airlifted to a hospital. At 1:26 in the afternoon, Vester Flanagan was pronounced dead. Inside his car, investigators found a wig, multiple license plates, 6 loaded magazines of ammunition, a handwritten to-do list, and 17 stamped letters addressed to various recipients. Back at the station, the reality was still sinking in. Adam Ward's fiancée, Melissa Ott, also a WDBJ employee, was celebrating her last day at the station before starting a new job. Adam had planned to join her soon. Instead, she watched the attack unfold live on television, unsure if the man she loved was still alive. Both Adam Ward and Allison Parker were killed. Vicki Gardner survived, but suffered severe injuries. She lost a kidney and part of her colon and endured multiple surgeries during her recovery. Adam and Allison are remembered for their kindness, professionalism, and bright personalities. Vester Flanagan is remembered only for the violence he left behind, and for the moment when an ordinary morning broadcast turned into a tragedy, witnessed by the world in real time.